Hello boys and girls and welcome to Studioszene 2022. Today we're going to check out all the new studio gear that has been released and we're going to talk to all the companies. I'm going to show you the cool stuff. Please follow me. In case you don't know what Studioszene is, this is a trade show for studio gear, studio equipment. Maybe you remember Musikmesse in Frankfurt. Musikmesse kind of sucks these days. And Studioszene seems to be the cool part of Musikmesse, the studio part of Musikmesse. In case you remember, that used to be Hall 5.1. Anyway, so we got a lot of small booths from really cool companies here, and I'm gonna wander around and see what I find. Right behind me you can see the booth of my friends in Austrian audio, and I know the guys from Cranborne are around the corner, so let's talk to everybody, meet some cool people and have some fun. Here we go. We are here at the Sonible booth. And I gotta say, I don't know much about that company, but everybody keeps on telling me they got some really cool shit going on with some intelligent plugins, especially an intelligent EQ that is very idiot-proof to use for people like me. And here we got Alex, who is one of the founders of the company, right? How you doing?
Great to meet you. Fine. How are you?
I'm great. Like I'm still trying to get an overview of all the booths here, but this seems to be a cool event. And yeah, and finally, it was actually my camera guy Julian who told me I should check this out because he's already using that stuff. Anyway, Smart EQ, what is it?
Smart EQ, what is it? Like we have a range of plugins, and the core idea of them is that they are able to learn from your signal. So what it means is they listen to the signal for a couple of seconds, like a small snippet, and then they analyze a lot of stuff. And then depending on what plugin you use, they suggest an initial setting for example, for the EQ, an EQ curve.
So you don't do anything?
Exactly, like in the first step.
You don't tell them I want more highs or more low, you just...
Yeah, like first step is just learn, listen, and then there's a suggestion. And for the EQ, for example, it's an EQ curve. And what the plugin tries to do, it tries to kind of find a good balance for the signal, which means that it would try to correct things that you would probably correct anyway. For example, resonances that you don't want, or you know, a disbalance that really, like, that anyone would fix anyway. Okay. What it doesn't try to do is to kind of get a certain style or so. So the idea is it kind of prepares your track.
It's more repair work in a way?
It's kind of a prepare work. Like, it prepares the track for the creative part of the mixing process.
Which you can also do with the plugin, so can I do manual EQing?
Exactly, so it's like, there is a suggestion and then there's the filter curve in case of the EQ, but you can do kind of fine tune or tweak anything as with any other EQ. And you can also use the EQ without the AI, if you want to, but yeah.
And how does the EQ know what are there different algorithms? Do I have to tell the plugin I'm using a, whatever, distorted guitar or a full mix or piano or whatever?
Yeah, like we call it profiles. So it's kind of, it helps to prime the algorithm towards certain sounds. There's a universal profile if you have a sound that's not in there, but normally it's better to have a profile. And what it does is, when training the plugin, we have thousands and thousands of well-mixed or well-sounding, for example, piano sounds.
Okay.
So there's a huge database there. And then we kind of destruct these piano sounds, make them sound like typical problems that can occur during recordings, like comp filters or some room impulse responses you don't want. And then we show the bad example to the system and the good example, and then by doing that thousands and thousands of times, the system learns how to go from a bad piano sound to a good one. And if there's a new sound, like after training all the sounds, then it kind of sees the sound and somehow knows it, so kind of, I saw this before, and kind of optimizing it looked like this. And that's how the plugin learns to go from a bad sound to a good sound, from a bad sound to a well-balanced sound.
This is the future.
Yeah, it's crazy, and the thing is...
and good for stupid people like me. But it is a normal EQ, it's not a dynamic EQ, there's no... You've been talking about impulse responses, so is there something happening in the time domain as well, or is it just...
It is like, on the core, it's a normal EQ. You can use the filter in a dynamic mode. So if you use the dynamic mode, then it tries to constantly adapt. So then it's slowly moving. It's a very flexible, powerful, normal EQ. And on top, there is this AI front end that helps to get started really quickly.
Okay. That sounds. It kind of sounds a little bit. Sorry for mentioning other companies, but a mixture of something like Soothe and something like Golfos or something. So I'll check out all your plugins and let you know what I think. But I just really like all those companies coming up with new concepts and cool digital shit. And one of you guys can actually win, what is it called? The full package, right?
Yeah, it's like the Smart Bundle, yeah.
The Smart Bundle, which consists of?
Smart EQ, Smart Compressor 2, Smart Limit, and Smart Reverb, so yeah.
Stay tuned and I will let you know what you got to do to win this. And I will also grab it and check it out. Thank you so much for the information.
Thank you for stopping by.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Studioszene 22. I'm here with my man Gabriel from Tegeler Audio, and we're gonna have a look at some incredibly sexy looking gear straight from Berlin, Germany, right? And you said you're releasing something new. What is it?
That's right. Finally, we managed to release the Mythic Q500. We are very proud of it. Last year, we started with the 500 series format with the vocal leveler. We had an incredible response.
Which I have used in one of my videos. Very dirty, yet whatever, natural sounding optical compressor. Very nice.
Yeah, and after the vocal leveler last year, we were like, basically the response was so good. And people were really asking and say, you cannot stop there, you cannot have only one 500 series device. Please give us an EQ. And then we heard that, and then we created a Mythic Q500. Basically, it's a film capacitor equalizer, and it has 4 bands. It sounds simply incredible on the bass.
So that means it's not like the 500 version of your Pultec EQ? It's something...
It is not, no, yes, you're right. Because the vocal leveler, it is actually the 500 series of the optical compressor of the Veritube recording channel.
Yeah.
The Mythic Q500 is a completely new device, not based off anything else that was there before. Okay. It's a film capacitor equalizer. It has 4 bands. The Q is adjustable. Basically, the more you gain, it already adjusts itself. So you cannot the bandwidth is not really
okay. So it's flexible. Half parametric. So
exactly,
you can
exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. You have 2 parameters for every band, and honestly, the response we're getting for the Mythic Q500 is already insane.
What about the sound? Is it supposed to sound clean or like...
It is supposed to bring out everything that is already in your mix, but hidden there. It is not going to give any extra color. It's just going to bring the harmonics that are hidden below the surface, and then it brings it up. It's basically, I would say, it's the clearest equalizer that we could create.
Okay, so it's not an equalizer that you want to drive hard or something, right?
You can definitely do that as well. I mean, actually, to be very frank, if you pump the bass there all the way up, it does sound incredible.
Okay.
But it's also very nice for subtle stuff.
It's a mono EQ,
It's
right?
a mono EQ. Yeah. So if you do want to use it as a bus equalizer, you need 2 of them.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I gotta say, we gotta film it a little more close later, but it looks very different, right? It's some kind of new design,
yes.
new logo.
New logo, yeah. Tegeler. Right now we are in the middle of a rebrand of our logo, basically. Okay. The thing is, a couple of markets, they have a problem pronunciating manufacture. Yeah, I know. And then
just learn to say manufacture.
Manufacture. But then now we're going to market ourselves a little more as Tegeler Audio. Okay. And this is our very newest logo already.
Looks nice.
Yeah, I like it then.
One other thing I want to talk about is something that is not new, but it's so sexy. It is the, what is it called? Schwerkraftmaschine. Which is basically an IR-based reverb in a tube.
No. The reverb is the Raumzeitmaschine.
Oh, Raumzeitmaschine. Excuse me. That's the one I meant.
Yes.
Raumzeitmaschine.
Yeah.
It is a analog digital reverb. So the reverb is digital, IR-based, and around it there's an input-output tube stage.
That's right.
Correct?
So that's right. I think the Raumzeitmaschine represents very well what Tegeler is all about, because we are trying to connect the digital and the analog worlds, and that's exactly what the Raumzeitmaschine is. The Raumzeitmaschine is, as you very correctly said, it's a digital reverb, but then you have the tubes on the input stage and on the output stage that give you that warmth. Very frankly speaking, it's not because I work at Tegeler, it might be the most natural sounding reverb I've ever heard.
From what I heard, it sounds fantastic, but it also looks and feels so sexy, right?
Yeah. And also, not only it feels sexy, but you can also control it with our plugin. Here we have, as you can see, the input there is moving. And of course, it looks nice, but more than that. Like, we did not do that as a gimmick. But the cool thing is when you have different sessions, when you have different projects, when you record them, the knobs will go back to whatever setting you're using.
Yeah, total recall.
Exactly, absolutely total recall. You won't need to touch it, so...
I want something like that.
Exactly.
I know I don't need it, but I kind of want it.
Yeah.
Because it's just too sexy.
We want to create a bridge between analog and digital. We want to make it easier for people who are doing in the box and they want to have an analog device. Why not make it digitally recallable?
Right.
If we can do it, we are doing it. Yeah.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you,
everybody,
Chris.
check out the beautiful looking and great sounding stuff from Tegeler Audio Manufaktur.
Yeah.
And check out their new EQ, which is called the
Myth EQ 500.
All right. Thanks, Gabriel.
Thank you.
Obrigado.
No, de nada, very good.
I'm here with one of my favorite microphone companies, as you all know, and that is Austrian Audio. And today we're going to talk about the history, the so-called young history. And I'm here with Walter. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you very much for coming by.
Yeah. I thought we should talk about the history because I have already introduced all your new products at Namm. We've talked about the OC16. We even did a giveaway back then and talked about your new instrument microphones.
Mic, yes, correct.
Really looking forward to checking them out, by the way.
Right.
When are they coming?
Well, in a few weeks from now, actually. We are almost there.
Awesome. So I'll do some tests on my channel. But yeah, how did it all happen? People know that Austrian originated from AKG. Tell the story.
Yeah, it was actually at the beginning a bit sad because in 2017, our former owner decided to close down the Vienna branch and they moved everything towards low-cost countries. Unfortunately, these are moves we do know from other industry areas.
And that meant production or that meant...
Everything.
Everything. Engineering, production.
Everything, yeah.
Okay.
And that meant that suddenly, within a few months, there were numerous people on the street looking for new opportunities, carrying all that great heritage in building professional audio microphones and headphones.
So that means those people weren't moved somewhere, weren't asked to work somewhere else, they would just...
We were
released
asked to move somewhere else, but to be perfectly honest, nobody accepted it. It was simply not interesting, let's say it that way.
Okay.
So no, unfortunately, it was not an option.
Yeah.
And so our founder and my former colleague as well, Martin Seidel, CEO and owner of the company, he had this dream of re-establishing a company in the heart of Austria and Vienna, making use of all those available capacities as far as technicians, development engineers, marketing experts were concerned, and making his own company together with us. And in the end of the day, today we have now 2022, it's already our 5th anniversary. So that's amazing.
And about how many people are we talking? Like, is it that came from AKG and ended up in Austria?
Yeah, it was actually interesting. In 2017, when the company was founded, this was a group of 22 enthusiastic technicians who all carried the dream together to make it now ourselves if they don't want us to do it anymore.
And they have been working for AKG for a long time, I assume?
Yeah. Some even for decades.
Okay.
I'm a good example. I was working for that company for 31 years.
All right.
So we got together. After 5 years, we are now over 50 employees. And one could say now, what are they doing actually? Well, we do have a production plant in Vienna. This is what we are extremely proud of. We are made in Vienna again. And this is very unique capacities, not only in the development and marketing area, but also in manufacturing. Yeah. We did bring out well over 20 or 25 products already to the market. Hard to believe, but yeah, we established the brand already pretty well in the high-end studio recording area, but also made our first steps into live business with our handheld mics, instrument microphones. So these are all market segments we are very interested in. Studio, broadcast, live sound, even conferencing and more. But we can't do it all at once. And when we got together, of course, we did have to start everything from scratch. Nothing was there. There was no company building. There were no desks, no chairs, nothing. So it of course took a while until we could start with the first product. And actually, the very first product that was ever produced was the brand new large diaphragm capsule. You know, we do have a long-standing heritage.
The one that we find here and
in these studio microphones, correct.
right.
And the large diaphragm capsule was the first product. We wanted to make clear right from the beginning on where that company comes from and where we stand.
Yeah.
So we said we need to go into this high sophisticated market with the large diaphragm microphones. So this was the first landmark. And the second one was then the development of a dynamic transducer. I do have them here as well, because we do have our heritage also in the headphone market, headphone designing.
Right.
So we needed the transducers first, and then we built the microphone and the headphones around it. And that's how it all started.
And I can tell you, this is a fantastic sounding microphone. It's actually, like the bigger brother, the OC818, has become, as you all know, one of my favorite vocal microphones. I use it on drums. And what I like about Austrian audio, if I can say that as well, is not only you're going back to the heritage of just making great sounding microphones, you're adding like a lot of modern features, including the plugins you do, the Bluetooth stuff, all that kind of stuff. So it's forward thinking.
And this was actually also one of these basic philosophies. And we are absolutely glad that with the help of this wonderful R&D team, we could establish these beautiful added value solutions. And so we are very happy that we did it that way. And we are in our 5th year, which is fantastic.
Yeah, it is. So everybody, check out Austrian Audio. Thank you so much for the interview.
And thank you very much for coming by. Take good care, all the best.
We are here at the PSI Audio booth. PSI from the French part of Switzerland. Je vais parler avec Monsieur Fabrice.
Bonjour.
Bonjour, how are you?
Fine, you?
I'm great. And you all know PSI because they make some great sounding studio monitors, but today we want to talk about a very unique product. I don't even know what is it called, but it is an active bass trap. Maybe the only active bass trap
I think
there?
so, yeah. It's in fact an active velocity acoustic absorber.
Okay. But it basically means instead of buying a whole lot of bass traps and absorbers for your studio, you just get this, put it into the room, and it will actively absorb any room modes and any, low-end resonances in your room. Please tell me more about it.
Yeah, so the idea was born a long time ago, because when you go in a studio with the loudspeakers, soon you realize that you don't have only the sound of the speakers, but mostly the room. So for the high frequencies, it's quite easy to treat with some foams, etc. But in the low frequency, you always have problems with the rooms, with the room modes, and people don't realize that they are not mixing on the speakers, but on the speakers plus the room.
They are fighting the room.
Yeah, we had the chance in 2012 to be helped by the country for a project, and during 3 years we
Scientific research or something.
Yeah. So we had the help of 2 high schools to develop it. So we knew what we wanted to do, but how? That was the question. And so the goal is to absorb the low frequencies between 15 up to 150 hertz. And we started with one transducer facing the ceiling, then with 2 transducers, and finally we ended with this solution.
And how much does it absorb? Because it's not big, compared to broadband or to classic bass traps.
So compared to classic bass trap, it absorbs the same on the same frequency, as much as something 20 times bigger than its size.
Oh wow!
But it absorbs from 15 up to 150 hertz. So not only one mode.
Okay, but if like let's say if people have a typical home studio
Yeah.
control room, how many of those do I need to get a acceptable low end?
I would say in 80 to 90% of the cases, two units.
Okay.
Sometimes just one,
really?
sometimes a bit more. It
And you have
depends
to
on the
try
effect.
where you put it. It's like sometimes you just have to try and to measure and find out where.
It's really easy. You can generate a sine wave at the problem you have. Then you walk in the room and you quickly find the high pressure because it's louder than on your speaker.
Yeah.
Then you place it here and it will create like a hole in the wall for these frequencies.
Okay.
And then you don't have the decay coming back.
And if, like in my case, if I already have a acoustically treated control room, which sounds good,
Yeah.
but maybe not perfect, if I put this into the room, is
Yeah.
it always going to improve it, or is there a chance that it's also going to have a negative effect or something? Is it
Never seen
possible?
that. No.
So it's always going to make things better.
There is always if it's well treated, like we had in Davout, for example, the studio in Paris, which was really huge damped.
Yeah.
We still had a slight
tiny,
effect.
tiny effect.
Yeah.
Okay. But this seems to be just a perfect solution for people who, who can either afford, or maybe it's not your place. You don't have the right to add a lot of construction
Yeah, exactly.
changes to that place, and it's also mobile, right? You can take it to your hotel room and
Yeah.
or whatever, and improve things. I really want to try this. I got to convince Fabrice to take me. No, I would love to try this in my studio if you let me.
You should. You should.
That's fantastic. How much is one of those in here in Europe?
2.5, I think.
2.5.
About.
Yeah?
About.
Not exactly cheap, but as I've told you a million times, like you're not gonna hear your speakers, you're not gonna hear your work if your room is not treated. So that is actually the most important thing these days to get right. If you don't have a proper acoustic treatment in your room, either the old school way or this way, don't even start thinking about expensive mic pre's and cool EQs and all the other stuff. So thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
So I'm taking this with me now. Bye-bye. We are here at the Telefunken electroacoustic booth, and I just spotted a mic that I've never seen before, which seems to be a kick drum microphone. And this guy, Manuel, is going to tell me more about it. How you doing?
Yeah, hi, how are you doing?
Great, man.
Yeah.
What is this?
This is the M82, a kick drum mic, and you have different sound versions. You can have a high boost for a different sound, and you have a kick EQ, so you can easily modify your sound for your kick drum mic. And it's a fantastic sounding mic for kick.
Is it a dynamic mic? Or?
It's a dynamic mic, yes.
Okay, it looks a little bit like a... First I thought it would be some kind of U47 FET, but it is not. It's
It's
a
not,
mic.
it's just the Telefunken style.
So there's like two EQ settings. One is
Yes.
flat, the other one seems to be like some kind of mid-scoop, right?
Yes, yes.
And then we have-
and your high boost.
The high boost, okay.
Yeah, because we also sell it as a broadcast mic, and with a high boost, it's more like a broadcasty sound.
Ah, okay.
And yeah,
But I assume, like, because I'm a metal guy, I
Yeah.
need a lot of click in my kick, which means I need the high boost and I need
Yes.
the scoop. I didn't even know Telefunken, and by the way, it's Telefunken, not Telefunken. Telefunken were making dynamic mics, because a lot of people know those very expensive condenser microphones. This is
Yeah.
your U47. How much is this one? Can I take it? Can we do a giveaway?
no, not really. So with this U47 or with the C12, we're around 12,000 to 14,000 euros. So it's not that cheap, but it's worth the money. That's more important for everything.
And it's sexy. So if you want to win a pair of this mic,
So,
anyway, but look at this. There's something more cool. We got, my wife has a lot of shoes in different colors, and if you're not into shoes but into microphones, you can finally get vocal mics in every color, and even with real wood. Isn't that amazing? And he just told me you can even combine. Can we do that?
yeah, we can do that easily.
Wait. Come on.
So you can combine the colors like you want it. So You have a blue, you have a red, you have a pink, of course.
So that means finally I can have a pink mic as well?
No, we don't have the pink mic today, but
Here, wait.
here.
That's
The
pink.
that's pink, and we have a purple one, and for every taste, we have a mic. So,
Beautiful, right? Here we go. Thank you very much.
thank you.
I just ran into some really funky looking EQs in a 500 rack format, and this is the guy behind it. This is Roger Schult. How you doing?
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. What can I do now?
I see those 3 different black EQs here, and they all look kind of special. Where do we start? Can we start at the right? Because Tilt Back's EQ, that just sounds really...
Yeah, we can start with this.
Okay.
This one is a really new filter system for the 500 model system from API. And you can't find anything like this filter. It's a niveau filter, or I call it a tilt filter in English. And you have a level, so you can, if you push the treble, you cut the bass. And in the other way, it happens.
the opposite way.
Yes.
You can pretty much make things just darker or brighter, right?
Right.
Just more low end, less highs, and the opposite
With
way.
one knob, yeah.
Yeah. And you define the frequency?
Frequency we can change in the middle. This is the point where it works.
It's like a very idiot-proof way of
Yeah.
making things sound brighter
Yeah,
or darker.
yeah.
Cool, right?
Really.
And why is it called Bax?
Bax EQ is from the Peter Baxendale filter of the 60s. One for the treble and one for the bass. And we have also 2 frequencies for the bass. It's here now 80 hertz and 110 hertz. And for the treble, we have 2K and 5K. You can switch it in the middle position. You can bypass the filter, also the treble or the bass filter.
And in case you don't know those types of filters, they're very smooth and natural
Yeah.
sounding, like
Yeah,
on a
natural
hi-fi amplifier.
Yeah,
kind of.
like in this way, there's a little bit color, only a little bit color. If you have nothing boost or cut, and if you boost, you have a little bit color for the modern sound, but in a very smooth way.
Awesome. Next one. This
That's
looks like a parametric EQ, right?
No, wrong. It's totally wrong.
Totally wrong.
No, totally wrong. It's a microphone preamplifier.
Oh.
It's built for ribbon microphones. And the special way is I have 3 filters, so you can put 3 filters on your microphone signal directly. And if you change the impedance of the passive microphone, you can change the resonance frequency of the microphone. You have a lower end or a higher end, and you have the resonance on between 2, 3, 5K.
Which also works on
top.
dynamic mics, right?
Yeah, right. All passive microphones work in this way. Also, you have for the microphone a filter to cut the bass for the Näherbesprechungseffekt.
Proximity effect.
Proximity effect.
Which is very prominent on ribbon microphones, as we all know.
Yeah.
Yes.
He told it.
Yeah.
EQ for the high, EQ for the low, and parametric EQ for the middle.
I said parametric EQ. No,
Yeah,
you got it.
parametric.
Okay, so I wasn't totally wrong.
No, not
Okay.
totally wrong.
And I assume a lot of gain, right?
You have between 26 and 59 dB range.
Okay.
And in the way you are working with the system, you can switch off all the filters. You can directly compare the signal.
Yeah, that's cool.
And if you want, you can use the phantom power if you want to have active microphone.
This looks amazing. I got to check it out. Thank you very much.
Thank you. See you again. Thank you.
I hope
Bye-bye.
so. Bye. Hello, boys and girls. Not only am I standing here beside this wonderful, beautiful-looking SE Electronics RNT microphone, we also got this handsome guy standing right beside the mic.
This handsome guy?
Which is my man Sean from Cranborne Audio. How you doing?
Christian, now that you're here, all the better.
As usual, right?
Yeah, of course.
As usual.
You know, you bring the sun to Mannheim.
And Mannheim needs a lot of sun, to be honest. Germans will understand. Anyway, we are here to talk about this wonderful Cranborne Audio 500 R8, 500 rack, audio interface, control room, section, whatever.
You're going to be listing things for a while. It does a lot of stuff, Christian.
Exactly. And as you guys know, in one of my control rooms, I have just this, right? Which I'm using for a lot of stuff. But maybe you can explain what this wonderful unit can do.
Well, yeah, Kristian. So I think the way you said it is exactly right. So what we love about the 500R8 and what we try to do with the 500R8 is it's configurable, it's flexible, and it can be suited to fit the needs of what your studio has or what your tracking room has or what you need to do for mixing. Because of the 8-slot 500 series rack and because of how it integrates with all the rest of the features on the box, you can kind of set it up a lot of different ways. So here, as an example, like because we wanted to show off a bunch of different stuff here, we have quite a cool setup. So yeah, we had that Rupert Need Designs mic. It's running into some Rupert Need Designs stuff there. But then coming back in via analog over Cat5, our cast connection, and then we're building a channel strip here. So with the chain switch, boom, boom, now we have a preamp going into an EQ, going into a compressor, into a tape saturation module, no cabling. There's no cables. It's just flipped switches and one Cat5 cable. So this is great for tracking as an example.
Yeah.
And
which basically means you can easily build channel strips or not.
Or make it more full of preamps. If you need to do a big drum kit, you need 8 channels of recording, 16 channels of recording, you could do that, just fill it full of preamps. And then what's great about that is, again, it's a configurable audio interface.
And you can both send the output of the modules into the audio interface, like via USB into the DAW.
In the case of the R8, yep.
Or just analog.
Or analog out, or even just not even analog out. You could do inserts, because it has inserts on the back. So you can, if you have other outboard gear to patch, you can also do that as well. So, okay, let's say I filled this full of preamps. And again, any 500 series preamp. So you can mix flavors. Yeah. You want a lot of transformer stuff, or you want a lot of tube stuff, or you want really clean solid state stuff. Your choice. It's a configurable audio interface. But then, okay, that's your 8 slots. You have 8 preamps, as an example. But then with the inserts, now you can go insert compressors. You can insert EQs. You can insert reverbs, delays, even guitar pedals. Like an Empress audio reverb pedal or something. You could pretty much do what you want. And then that's just this bit. That's all I've covered so far is this bit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you're exactly right, Kristian. So you have analog ins. This is the source select in the back. This tells you what you're listening to.
Right.
So if I set it to analog, it's listening to the XLR or the jack on the front. But if I switch to USB, now it transforms the unit. So now it's going to listen to whatever you have rooted in your DAW. So this is great for mixing, as an example. So let's say you're ready to, you've done the automation, or you've done the main heavy lifting with the mix. You fixed everything. You've high passed everything. It's generally mixing together nicely, but now you want to add character. You want to add analog warmth. You want to give the glue now. Well, now we could put this, even the same preamps, but let's say I had compressors or EQs or saturation modules. Flip this switch to USB. Now it's going to listen to the USB, and then now you can use the summing mixer part. So these mix levels will allow you to shape what you're putting in your summing mixer. And the reason why...
Or you can send it back into the DAW and just use it as a
inline inserts. Exactly, right in Logic, right in Cubase, right in whatever DAW you use, and just use the hardware inserts. And again, what's great is they're at unity gain. Yeah. So without the mix level knobs only affect the summing mixer. But the D to A converter, the A to D converter rather, is before the mix levels. Right. So it's at unity gain. So it's not going to mess, if you use hardware inserts, it's not going to mess with your levels.
And by the way, you guys know that I really love this, the Camden mic pre. And the cool thing is you can switch it to line, where is it?
Yep.
Over here?
Exactly.
To line input, and then you can use the Mojo feature while mixing, right?
Exactly.
So if you don't want to commit during the recording session because you're not sure if you really want that, you can just use it later. And what about the digital side of things, like the audio interface? It has 24 channels, right?
28 inputs and 30 outputs.
Okay, so that means we got those 8?
Those 8, yep. And then you have 16 channels of 8 in and out. So 8 plus 16 is
24.
24. So the other 4 channels. So on the input side, we're looking at your computer, you have an A to D converter for the summing mixer. So that will capture the summing mixer, the sum mix that you've made. It'll convert it using our conversion quality, really good dynamic range, and get it back in your DAW without any other extra equipment. And then there's also, which will be active soon, SPDIF input as well. So let's say you have an Axifex or something like that has SPDIF, you want to get a digital signal in, we'll be able to do that too. And then on the output side, So the 4 extra outputs that you have, well, actually 6 extra outputs. One of the pairs is spit if out. So like, let's say if you want to go to, I don't know, a separate monitor controller or something like that. But then the 4 analog outs are actually really important. So that's these ones, DAW1 and DAW2. Those are your DAW returns. So the idea here is that a DAW1, for instance, could be your control room mix. So, in the control room, you don't want to hear the click. You don't want to hear the monitor mix for the musician. What you want to hear is what you're recording. That's what you want. So flip to DAW1, and then, you have a blend and your own level for that. But you have a performer, you have a musician singing. She needs a monitor mix, okay? DAW2 is a separate USB return channel. You can make her own mix for what she needs. Like maybe her cue is the guitar or the piano. Maybe she needs the click. Maybe she only wants the click on the left side. You could suit it to
So you do
what
that
she
mix
needs.
in the DAW.
In the DAW.
Send it to a separate USB output from the DAW. It shows up here on the aux.
And you can blend it with what you're tracking with her too. So
Okay.
it's not.
So it's a no latency.
True zero latency monitor mix.
That means you can make a mix or a blend of whatever your aux mix is with whatever, any of those 8 channels or a mix of those 8 channels.
Exactly. And so, what's cool is that's the actual recorded sound as well.
Yeah.
So she's hearing what she's going to sound like. Which is really cool,
right.
Not something like that. I've had it before where I'm recording, let's say a drummer or let's say a vocalist, and like they want a really heavy compression sound for their monitoring, but I might not want to record that because I want to do that later, and it's with compression especially, like you don't want to ruin the take. Well, okay, here we go. Take this example right here. We had that Shelford channel, that preamp. Then we have this EQ, this compressor, and this tape saturation plugin. Chain. Now here's the beauty of the 500RA. If you record ARM, all these 3 channels, you basically have an undo.
Yeah. For each processing device.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
But let's say the vocalist wants to hear the compression. She wants it really hard. Okay, fine. Whack that up. That's what she's listening to. But you don't necessarily have to.
Doesn't change anything. It doesn't change the recording.
It doesn't change the recording.
Yeah. Awesome.
But you could also record that as well. Let's say, because that's the reference. That's what she thought sounded good. You have that as a reference when you're mixing.
Yeah.
But you're not committed to that.
Yeah.
You can change it, and you can in post you can put whatever compression settings you want. So it's the problem. It's not an easy explanation, Kristian, because it's so flexible.
Yeah, it is.
But that's what makes it good. You could tailor it to whatever you need to do.
Are you confused now? I don't know. It took us quite some time to show you that this is not only a 500 series rack. It is a 500 series rack, but as he said, control room. By the way, this thing really sounds nice. A control room section. There's great sounding AD conversion. There's a summing mixer, and it's all really well done. And if you're looking for, a real workhorse for your studio, check out the Cranborne 500R8.
R8.
Thanks, man.
Thanks, Kristian. Cheers, buddy. All the best, man.
If you guys want to win the Sonible plugin pack, which consists of 4 very intelligent plugins, all you got to do is, first of all, subscribe to this channel, and you got to subscribe to my email list. Subscribe to my email list. There's a link below, because in exactly 2 weeks, I will announce the winner through that email list. And I got to be able to contact you, right? So subscribe to this channel, subscribe to the email list, and win 4 fantastic plugins. So that was Studioszene 2022. We are about to pack and to hit the road, to have a dinner and some beers with a few good friends we met here. And don't forget that you guys can win those fantastic plugins. Subscribe to my email list below and win those plugins. I see you next time. I see you in hell, motherfuckers. Bye-bye.